of soul.
This is Bass Talk Live. Your host, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Lose, Strike King Lures, Bass Cat Boats, Ducket Fishing, Spro, AFCO, Big Bite Baits, Sunline, and TH Marine. BTL coming at you. Good Monday morning. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where Matt and I are going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Yes, you are looking at a live shot of Matt, not on Table Rock Lake as I built it up, but in his living room, I believe, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Matthew, what's going on?
I finally found a use for one of those gifts that Bass sends you all the time. You know, you always get like the wonky lure stuff. I realized minutes ago. But this is a stainless steel mug that I'm drinking my coffee out of from Bass. So that's what's going on. It's cold out. I didn't get all my stuff ready. It's just a 9-boat derby. So I decided, you know what? Let's stay at home. Let's do BTL. Then let's clean the joint up a little bit and then head to Table Rock.
All right. So there you have the explanation as to why. Because I built it up on the website that you were going to be live from the water on Table Rock.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that just immediately saw that I wasn't on Table Rock and clicked their viewing devices off.
I believe they did not do that. But, you know, it made me look like I built something up that didn't happen. Like I was putting fabricated information out.
You did not know that I would not be on the lake until about 8 o'clock this morning. So my bad. I apologize for the letdown.
I'm looking at the instant feedback.
Although based on the way I've been fishing lately, there would be no way of getting a catch on live. So
dude, you keep saying that this is not that big a deal. I talked to a few people on Friday. This is kind of a big deal to a number of people that want to kick your butt.
The thing that I'm fishing?
Yes.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
no.
Yeah. You're taking this way too lightly, dude. There are some people coming after you.
People that want to win a Yeti or a grill.
It's not what I was
or
told.
Some cash. Who the heck did you talk to?
Not going to say.
Well, there's 9 people in it, so it's pretty obvious. Which, I mean, I did talk to Mike. I don't think I'm on Mike McClellan's radar. I don't think Mike McClellan is worried about me coming down to Table Rock.
I didn't say that.
I don't think Jeremy Lawyer is. I don't think Brad Hallman is.
Dude, that's not what I said. They're not worried about anything. They just want to kick your butt, is what they said.
Okay.
Big difference.
Well,
Big difference.
All right. Fishing, it'll be pretty easy. That's why I was trying to go down and get a couple days of practice in.
Yeah. All right, man. Lot to talk about today.
I never even got the dang waypoints from you where you said 35 years ago your buddy caught a 29-pound limit of spotted bass.
No, 25.
25.
Yeah. 25. It was impressive.
Wow.
All spots. One of the most impressive limits that I've
ever seen. That had to be 5 lake records.
No, man. The spots get 6 pounds there.
They do?
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking that up.
I think the lake record spot might be in the 7-pound range.
Good Lord. 7 pounds, 8 ounces.
See, I was dead on. Yeah. There's freaks,
7-pound spots in Table Rock?
Yes. Freakish fish. And you catch them this time of the year up there. Obviously the springtime too, but you can really get on them this time of the year up there. So go have some fun. Catch some massive, large, chunky spots on Table Rock. All right, man. A ton to talk about. We've got a great show today. We're going to have Bryan New, the man that got it done, won the AOY for the combination of Opens, and he is headed to the Elite Series. So we'll talk to him in about 10, 15 minutes. Then tomorrow, man, it's booked. It's done. we're going to have Randy Blockett on. Now, you're going to have
Very
to take
nice.
a break. You're going to have to take a break from your practice to jump on and do this show tomorrow with me, because he has changed his view on electronics, and that's why I want to have him on.
Did you talk to him?
Just via text. Via text.
All right. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
So
Did
he
you
said
hear it?
absolutely.
Did you see what Bryan New said about making the Elite Series? It was a pretty good quote. There's an interesting quote. He double, triple down on it. He said, "The Bassmaster Elite Series is the biggest tournament trail on the face of the planet. Always has been, always will be, and I'm going to be a part of it."
Okay.
It's a good quote.
It is pretty good.
So we've got
Interesting quote.
the 4 overall are Bryan New, Justin Atkins, who was one of the anglers who was on the BPT, and then his name was not on the BPT when they announced. So he finished second. This is just the overall. Matt Robertson, who is the Onum guy of fur coat winning everything fame around the Kentucky Lake area, and then Mark Frazier, who I didn't even realize this is Micah Frazier's brother. Then the Central Opens, Jason Christie, Greg Hackney, Kenta Kimura, all 3 very recognizable names, and Daryl Gleason, who got in because I believe a double qualifier with Mark Frazier, and then he wins a tiebreaker with Paul Browning based on your overall weights for days 1 and 2 in the tournaments. How about that? I'd like to thank Steve Wright for explaining all this in an actual article. And then in your Eastern, you have Josh Transner, Scott Martin gets it done. That's big, Mark. That's big for Scott. That's big for the Elite Series. That's big for Bass.
What, he had 11 pounds on the final day to make it?
Yeah, something like that. He did enough to make it easily, because they went all the way down to 8 in the Easterns with double qualifiers and overall, and they only went down to 5 in the Centrals. But he finished second.
He finished 5th, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think he finished.
But
5th.
after all the double qualifiers, he was second.
Yeah.
Justin Hamner and KJ Queen. So there are your 12 guys noticeably absent from that list. Myself and Brad Hallman. But we'll go after it again next year, Mark.
Hey, on the instant feedback, somebody wants to know if you're going to take Scott Martin's place in the house next year.
Well, without Scott Martin, it was kind of Scott Martin's house. So, I'll be in a house somewhere. Will it have anything to do with Scott Martin? No. Will it be on Scott Martin's channel? No.
It'll be on your channel.
Right. It'll be actually, technically, if we're going to it'll be on your channel, Mark.
Well, it's your channel. We have a channel. I don't really do anything on it. All right. So, anyway, Randy Blockett tomorrow. We're going to get his opinion on the Opens, because he fished the Opens. We'll talk a little bit about,
he almost made it, too, through the Easterns.
Yeah. We'll talk about his season, but at the forefront is his kind of change of direction when it comes to electronics. And then on Wednesday, folks, a very, very special show, different time. It's going to be 5 p.m. Central Time. Myself and special guest host, Frank Scalish. This is a big-time interview. This guy doesn't do too many interviews. He is the executive vice president of Fox Sports. We're going to have him on to find out.
The entire Fox Sports.
Yes. That's big time. All right.
Like NFL, Major League Baseball, like the head guy.
The man. He is the man when it comes to Fox Sports. We're going to have him on Wednesday, and we're going to find out why Fox Sports has become interested in professional bass fishing.
I've become more than interested in it. They've become invested in it.
That's right.
A vested interest, as you would say.
Yes.
We haven't worn a vest yet this year, which reminds me.
It hasn't been cold enough.
It's frosty. Is it not frosty down there?
No, it's not too bad. It's going to be 65 today.
Yeah, there's a lot of frost on the grass right now.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Matt, I'm super excited to have Bill on the show on Wednesday, but at the same time, I'm a little nervous. I've interviewed a lot of big people, a bunch of college coaches I've spoken with, done stories when we were doing all the live streaming stuff. But this guy is the man. I mean, this guy is the guy that calls the shots for Fox Sports. And I was very, very appreciative of Emily at Bass, who basically is in charge of the media section of Bass and Bassmaster, to helping me get this thing set up. Now, obviously, with him being the man, things sometimes change. But right now, I was sent a block of time that Bill was going to be available, and
so we're gonna have to you are, I'm not on vacation,
yeah,
but you're gonna have to have a what if they're like, oh, Mark, why don't you come over and do the Bass show?
No, dude, please. No.
You could have your own show, because they have the soccer. It could be called The Angry Bass Guy on Fox Sports. Just a little 15-minute block.
No, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I'm not interested.
Angry Bass Guy.
Dude, I have a selfish reason for getting Bill on the show, because he's gonna get a few bowling questions too.
Okay. But this is one of those deals where you have to send the questions beforehand, right? You can't just be like, you're just gonna hit him with the bowling question out of nowhere.
Yeah, but it's gonna be very, very general. I'm not gonna get into massive details on why this is being done when it comes to
I hate to be nitpicky, but
Fox
isn't
television.
Massive details the generals?
The what?
Massive details would be also considered generals. Think about it. The minute details are what you're not going to get into. The bigger the details are, the more general they become. Correct?
Yeah.
Right? Like we're gonna get into the minute details with Bryan Newt, because, like, I mean, I know someone who walked up on him when he was in his car with a pad and a pencil, and he's trying to figure out the points, and he's freaking out.
Yeah.
See if he won, to see if he got on the Elite Series.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not looking good for him after Neely Henry. The guy finished 100th place. He won the overall points with a triple-digit finish, which to me is a testament to the validity of making sure you have an overall champion, an overall point system to qualify for the Elite Series, not just fish 3 or fish 4 and you're in there, but the overall, because it allows for a margin of error for a very talented angler like Bryan Newt to bounce back with the 4th place at Lake Lewisville and not completely screw the guy out of his season.
Yeah.
I mean, we all knew, based on what he had done in the past, based on his track record, that he would be one of those guys. Same thing with Matt Robertson. Same thing with a lot of the guys that are up there. Justin Atkins, that type of thing. So I'm still pleading and begging the case, because the schedules have not been released. It is a massive mistake if there is not an overall for the Opens. Multiple spots for the overall guys, because you have a Bryan Newt who, had he finished 100th, you know what I mean? Like, he wins the whole thing and he has a triple-digit finish, the same way Brendan Polinick had a triple-digit finish on the Elite Series, but because of the number of tournaments, his skill and talent was able to overcome one bomb.
I agree with you, man.
To win the
I'm
Angler of the
100%.
I know.
I
I get nervous when I talk about these things, because I feel like they're going to come out with 3 divisions and no overall, and I'm going to blow a gasket. Because they've got it right now. They have it right. Like, I understand, okay, I can handle the 3 divisions. I liked the 2 divisions with 8 tournaments. I can handle the 3.
Yeah.
But look at the guys you got in the overall, and you're going to have that caliber of angler in the overall next year too, if you're smart enough to do it. And they're smart. So
I think it's going to happen, man. I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to get your wish. All right, we had to
do 3 or 2, 2, 2, and 4.
What?
6 and 4, that's 10. 2, 2, 2, and 4. 2 out of the Centrals, 2 out of the Easterns, 2 out of the Centrals, and 4 out of the overall. You still have the win in your in, though.
And each division has 3 tournaments. 3,
right.
3, and 3.
Now, here's the other thing. Yeah. I could see him maybe doing some weird hybrid thing where you take your 6 points out of your best 6.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're dealing with different field sizes and different divisions. I mean, if you could cherry pick 6 and take 6 out of the 9, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think your best 6 finishes out of the 9 tournaments. So you could either fish 6 or you could fish all 9. And then you get into the drops and crap like that, which is
I
a
don't
pain in
like
the
that.
butt. No,
Don't like that.
I'm just saying what I could see them doing. But I'm hoping and praying that it is 9 as far as an overall. And it's like Little Debbie's 9 Derby overall champ. Big Dave makes him a trophy.
Oh, man, you're a little worked up.
Just any time I get around that stuff.
Yeah. All right, man. A couple of events. Obviously, the one on Lay Lake. Only 47 pounds on Lay Lake over 3 days. And then the Toyota Series, which was won by Chris Malone, only 41 pounds. Fall fishing was tough, man.
Yeah, and here's the thing. After the last couple tournaments we've had, you're like, holy cow, they cracked him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was super tough, but you're dealing with a lot of weather scenarios, specifically there at Cumberland, which can be absolutely brutal. But a couple of the things, I actually, one of my buddies, Robbie, actually drew Cal Lane on the first day, 18 years old, Chris's kid.
Yeah.
And he said, I have a feeling he's kind of wide open. And I was like, oh, I think you'll be going 75 wherever you go. And it was cool because he caught a limit that day. Cal did. And then afterwards got his invite to the, what are they calling it? The Big 5 Pro Circuit, the MLF Pro Circuit, because he finished 6th in the Toyota division. So he said there was a lot of lane tendencies in his fishing style.
Mm-hmm.
He actually got really jacked up at takeoff and was hot and took his jacket off and then took off and his jacket blew into the lake. And it was 21.
That's not good.
21 degrees out. So
and he fished all day?
He fished the rest of the day with no jacket in 20-degree weather. And Robbie was like, oh, I got to give it to him. The kid's pretty dang tough. He goes, he did not let it affect him.
Wow. And then the Lay Lake winner, Keith Carson, never been on the lake before. Florida, England. Didn't even know what it was like.
Yeah.
All right.
It's interesting. I mean, there was a local that was leading it, a couple guys that were leading it up at the top, kind of a very similar to what happened at Lewisville, where you had the locals that, jumped out to the lead, but then the longevity was in a guy who just kind of put something together.
And then, Chris Malone won a ton of money. He won like over $230,000.
Yeah, so that was kind of the caveat to the Toyota Series Championship was you had less berths per division, but you had more divisions, and then your overall payout was a lot bigger. And then if you were one of those Phoenix contingency owners, I think he got $225,000.
Yeah.
It's friggin' wild. That's a lot of money.
And then he got something else.
Considering that Andrew Upshaw last year got $50,000 total. I mean, that's a $175,000 difference, Mark.
Yeah, let me ask you this: what do you think Powroznik's going to do? Fish the Opens,
dude. If he's not he's not on the BPT. I don't know if his avenue is open for the Pro Circuit if he wants to do that. But if the NPFL works around the Opens, which I believe in our interviews they said they have, but I think they have a loose schedule, and I don't know if the Opens aren't out yet. So we'll see how that all works together. But if he's able to fish them all and fish the NPFL, there's a 15 tournament schedule where he's still fishing for the Classic at 9. Obviously, you got to give him better than 50-50 odds of making the Elite Series through one of the 3 divisions or the overall, which I'm hoping will be announced soon, and then be able to fish for big money at the $5,000 entry fee on the NPFL. And I have no idea. I haven't talked to him, haven't done anything. Obviously, I'm sure he would like to be on the Elite Series right now, but you still fish 14 events, fishing for 50, 60K, and, well, pretty much all of them, including the Opens, and still have everything on the table. he'll still stay totally relevant, and I think all his sponsors will still stay with him. You agree?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a doomsday scenario for him. I mean, the guy is incredibly talented. So
agree 100%. Do you think he absolutely has to catch him next year in order for stuff to continue?
No.
How critical is 2021 going to be for Jacob Powroznik?
I mean, he's going to take it pretty seriously.
Well, that's not what the question was.
I have no idea. Listen,
no, seriously, dude.
If I'm a bait company and I sponsor Jacob Powroznik and it takes him 3 or 4 years to get back on the Elite Series, I am not dropping him after year 2 because look at what the guy's won. He's got Elite Series. He provides for Angler of the Year. Look at his consistency on the tour. He has MLF wins. I mean, the guy's one of the most talented natural anglers that have come around in the past 20 or 30 years. I think you'd be an idiot to drop him just because he didn't make the Elite Series. I mean,
agree.
Hell, I say give him 5 years. He'll make it next year. He'll make it next year.
Yeah, I think he will too.
Louisville was well, we can't talk bad about it because Bryan New will be on, and he finished 4th on it. But it was an anomaly.
Yeah.
It was not a fishery that should ever be visited by any tournament organization in the history of tournaments. But anyway, I said he got Louisville.
Yeah,
he might even win 2 of the 3 Opens in the Eastern Division.
Good point. We'll see. I hope he makes it, man. Good dude, great angler.
I don't think you have to hope he will make it. It's just. Would it be a shocking if it wasn't? No, especially if they go to 3 because now you literally cannot have an average day.
Yeah. All right. We went a little long here. We'll get to Bryan New here just in a few minutes. We'll take a break. Real quick, though, Matt, how difficult is it going to be? Here it is, December 7th. You got some guys, probably with the exception of Scott Martin, they are in scramble mode. If they were proactive and did the actions that we discussed earlier in the year where they were proactive and kind of teed some stuff up from a sponsorship standpoint, and we'll talk to Bryan about that. It is a difficult situation, though, unless they were proactive and had some stuff set up.
Yeah, and listen to this, though. Bryan New, obviously proactive, knew what was going on. He won the first Open, so he knew that he'd be in the Bassmaster Classic next year. He's buddies with the right guys. He's fine. Justin Atkins, Cup champ. I mean, he's good to go. Matt Robertson, he didn't fish this just seeing if he could make a little money. He was trying to make the Elite Series. He's been there, done that, had to do a second Classic. And Mark Frazier is Micah Frazier's brother, like we said. So he knows a little bit about the Elite Series. So the overall guys are freaking golden, wouldn't you say? For the most part. I'm just talking about to be in a better position than a Joe Schmo who just qualifies and goes, well, now I guess I better start sending out emails. Agreed? Just yes.
Agree. No,
okay.
I agree.
Jason Christie, good. Greg Hackney, good. Kenta Kimura, good. Darryl Gleason, planner. Guy's been in second for the last month and a half. He's worked in the industry. Everyone knows him in the industry. Gleason's in good shape too. Agreed?
Agreed.
So that takes care of your centrals. I don't know about Josh Traesner. Scott Martin, he's good. I don't know about Justin Hamner. And KJ Queen comes from the Bethel Juggernaut, I believe. Yeah. So I'm sure he might be taken care of. So you might have 1 or 2 of those guys in there. But other than that, as a whole, the Open guys are really set up compared to years past for the start of the Elite Series season.
Yeah, it's weird how that worked out, but it did. It worked out.
Yeah. Well, you've got guys who know what's going on qualifying for the Elite Series because, once again, you had 4 tournaments in each division instead of 3, and then you had an overall, which culls. And culling is good in bass fishing, Mark.
That it is.
I got culled this year. I got culled.
Right. You're right.
Maybe next year I will get culled. You know, Bryan New does not get culled, and he does a lot of culling.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, he probably also gets a ton of questions on his social media about his electronics setup and how he goes about things. Because I get a lot of questions about Bryan New's setup, and I'm like, hell, I don't know. He's got 9 things hanging off of his trolling motor. He's buddies with Brian Thrift. He pretty much freaking wins everything, and he will continue to win everything. And he's low-key about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, going to be a good week here on BTL, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The ultimate fishing system starts with Lowrance HDS Live. The best fish finding tools, from chirp sonar and fish reveal to side scan and down scan imaging, and complete touchscreen control from your trolling motor to your big motor.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just filling in for Billy.
I need a 660 shad crankbaits in the Series 5 model.
We're out.
You're not out. You got all kinds of them right there.
We're out.
Kevin, I need 6.
Have a lollipop.
I do not want a lollipop.
Have a lollipop.
Do you have it in sexy shad color?
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage.
Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency.
Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
Blue Water by TH Marine, offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Hey everybody, Tide Faircloth here. Want to show you one of my favorite braided lines, SX1 30-pound Sunline braid. I use this braided line for a couple of different applications, and one of my favorites to use for this line is a swim jig. Casts great, and it's small diameter, and just works really great on a swim jig. Another technique I like to use for 30-pound SX1 Sunline braid is whenever I'm flipping like a light, say an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce weight in grass, small diameter, I don't lose much action on my worm, just works great in those scenarios. So if you're looking for a braided line for a swim jig or fishing a light Texas rig, check out Sunline's SX1 30-pound braid.
All right, we are back on a Monday, kicking off the week. It is time to go to our special guest, Mr. Bryan New. And real quick, Matt, I just got some great news during the break. Dude, I got to tell you, I probably have received 20 emails, which may not seem like a lot, but these 20 emails were from people who had relatives, who had spouses, who had friends that have MS. That were asking about the medicine that I'm getting ready to go on here.
A lot of people concerned about it. I fielded a lot of questions too about it.
Well, I just got the approval that my blood work came back positive, and we are good to go to start on. I was a little concerned on that. Yeah, so I'm good to go. So the treatment is going to start here in a week or two.
Message me. I just said that you were doing away with traditional medicine. We're going to try a cocktail, a home cocktail of your own brewing, and then just stopped answering it.
No, not the case.
That's it. It's a weird deal. It's like so I look at that pamphlet of that MS stuff that you're starting, And it legitimately reminds me of like the Strike King catalog.
Yeah.
Like it's like happy times, people like doing things, holding up big fish. I'm like, this is weird. It's like they're like, I don't know. I just expected it to be more like medically journal, but it's like a magazine brochure with colored pictures of people enjoying life without getting shots in their butt.
Yeah. Yeah. So very fired up about that.
Is that a congratulation? Like
it is, man. That's big news. Yeah.
You've been dealing with this for how long?
7 years.
And we've told this story before and everything. The very first symptom, just to recap, in case you missed it, we're on the way back from iCast in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Mark, is with me. He's pissed because I came in 30 minutes before we were supposed to leave for the flight. This was a long time ago, folks. I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And we get there, and they said, "Sir, you got something in your right pocket." Mark said, "No, I don't." And he had a freaking pocket full of change and pens, and he could not feel his right leg. And that whole way home, he was like, "Man, I'd been having headaches, and it was either A, brain tumor, or B, MS, and it came back MS, and he's been dealing with it ever since then."
Yeah. So I just want to say thanks to all the people. Hopefully I helped you out. This is just an incredible treatment that is starting, and thank you for the best, the well wishes, and wish everybody the best out there. All right, let's go to our guest. Let's bring him in. Bryan, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I am good. Trying to catch up on some rest. I haven't slowed down for 2 months straight. It's been a long ride.
Yeah, well, it is a well-deserved achievement that you've had this season. And what I want to know, the first question I have is, when did you have that moment finally where you were by yourself, you didn't have anybody around you, maybe you were in your truck, maybe you were in your boat, and you truly realized what you accomplished this year?
I don't know that I actually really have yet. There was a point right after the scales closed at the second day at Lay Lake last week. I was sitting in my truck, Bradley Hallman standing beside me outside of my truck. And, I've got the pen and paper. I'm going crazy. I'm, going mathematician on them. And I added up the top 7 guys in the points leading into Lay Lake. And it come up. And Justin Atkins, me and him were texting back and forth. And he texted me and said, "You won by 1 point." I had to see it for myself. So I was doing the math myself. And it come up. I won by 1 point. And I was like, dude, maybe I really did. But I'm still in the back of my head. I'm thinking, I did something wrong. So I leave there and I start heading to my buddy's house that I was staying with, Anthony Goggins. And I know I'm fixing to lose service. So I'm constantly hitting refresh on the points because it takes them a little while to update them. So I called my wife, Brittany, and I said, "Hey, look, you got to get online right now and constantly hit refresh, because I'm fixing to lose service and I'm not going to be able to do it. And as soon as it refreshes or updates, you've got to call me." And about 5 minutes later, she calls me, and dude, it was just incredible. I knew that I had already qualified. I knew that I was, there was enough points there that I had qualified, but to win, and that was a huge accomplishment in itself, and a huge victory to me personally. But at that point, it was like winning a tournament. Like going to a tournament, you want to win, but realistically, the chances of that are not great. So you really just want a good tournament. Well, once you get that good tournament, you don't want anything but to win. Second's like a punch in the face. And at that point, all I wanted to do was win Angler of the Year. And I didn't do it by much, but I did it. So that's what matters.
Yeah.
Bryan, I mean, when we went into this year, there was a lot of focus on the Bassmaster Opens. Obviously, you had some of the BPT anglers who were fishing the Opens, not knowing what they were going to do the next year. You had a number of FLW guys come over. You had the combined with all 8 tournaments. There was a lot of focus on the Bassmaster Opens. And I don't know if you felt it or not, but I mean, we're sitting around and we're looking at the guys that are fishing them all. And I mean, you're one of the guys that we expected to be right in the mix there for the top 4 in the overalls. Obviously, you won the first one, which really kind of helped kickstart things and put you on the right foot. But As the year went on, I mean, did you feel the pressure? Just kind of talk about. I mean, it was a grind with winning, and then the 5-month break, and then everything back ended into the fall. I mean, did it feel like a grind? Did it feel like it was as easy to do? And I'm talking about qualifying for the Elite Series, or I mean, do you feel like that schedule kind of put you through the paces, and you really had to earn it at the end there?
Oh, I mean, so you want to talk about the people you're fishing against? That didn't scare me at all, because I don't care if you're fishing a night tournament at your local lake, there's hammers there. And, you know, the Bass Opens this year, there was some hammers. And it doesn't matter who you're fishing against. There's always just tons of talent that you're going up against. And you're not, I mean, yeah, I guess on paper you're fishing against those guys, but you just got to go do your thing that day. So that didn't really bother me. But let me tell you, every year, or if I have a bad tournament, you, in the back of your mind, you have all these good tournaments, and you know, you might not go around talking about it and saying it, but you know you're not a slouch. You know, you get things done from time to time, and you feel like you belong there. Well, then you have a bad tournament like I did at where was it? Neely Henry. And actually the first day I didn't have a big bag, but I didn't have a bad day. Things went well. I just didn't catch the right size fish. Everything was, I mean, I was fishing flawless. I just didn't get the right bites. The second day was a different story though. Everything went wrong. Every decision I made was wrong. And I knew that the next decision was probably going to be wrong. And normally I don't get like that. Normally, even if this decision's wrong, I know the next one's going to be right. And when it's wrong, I still know the next one's going to be right. And eventually it is. But that day it was not. And at that point, I was like, it wasn't against who I was fishing against. It was, I told myself, I said, what are you doing? And I do this all the time. Every time I have a bad tournament, and I truly 100% believe it in my heart. What are you doing? You have no clue what you're doing. You don't need to be out here doing this. And then about a day later, I'm like, okay, you just had one bad day. maybe you can get over it. But, yeah. It was a crazy year. It was a long year, very long year. A lot of stuff went down this year. I mean, not just fishing. I mean, I got married, so that was a lot going on with that itself. And it really seemed like the year was never going to end. I was doing good in the points. I was like, all right, come on, let's finish this thing. Let's get it over with and qualify. Well, now that it's over, even though I won, I don't want it to be over. I want to keep going. I want to fish some more. But it was a good year, man.
Let me go back to this, and I have to kind of put it in my mind to make sure I get it right. But you said something that was really important to me. We got a lot of guys who fish, BFLs, club tournaments, open tournaments, and there's a big difference. You get a talented angler like you. You know you're good. You said it modestly. I mean, you could say it. You're good. You know you're good. Everyone knows that you're good. Look at your results from the time that you've been on a bass boat, whether you're in the back of it, the middle of it, or the front of it. You catch bass. You said
sometimes.
99% of the time. But I want to talk about that one time where, like, you have a bad day where you make a good decision. Let's just say the 100th place finish. There, you can have a 100th place finish, and basically what I'm saying, and fish good. Like, you can have a poor finish that doesn't cause you to question yourself, but then there's also times you mentioned where you're making bad decisions that lead to your poor finishes. I think that's key, because you could have a guy who fishes a club tournament. He's like, oh, well, I sucked. But what you're saying is you could suck at a tournament and make all the right decisions and still have all the confidence and know that you did the right things. But you could also finish that same way and realize, man, I really screwed up today, right? There's two different ways to get to poor finishes. And just kind of explain that mentally and how you kind of separate those two and then analyze them.
So when things, to me, let me figure this out. So
you see what I'm trying to say, though?
Oh, yeah. So at Neely Henry, let me go back there, because that's a great example. The first day, we'll practice. I was getting a lot of bites fishing docks, and I wasn't super, I didn't think that was a great practice, even though I was getting a lot of bites, because so many people were fishing docks. It wasn't something sneaky, and pressure is so big. Pressure kills. It'll completely shut something down. But I was thinking in the back of my head, okay, I'm from North Carolina. I've skipped a jig a lot, so I'm pretty good at that. And I was thinking, well, maybe that's what's going to carry me through. Maybe I'm going to be able to skip a jig where, not everybody, but the majority of the guys, I'm going to be able to put it where a lot of guys aren't going to. So that's what carried me. And that first day, I promise you, I put that jig in places that other people didn't put it. But I caught 5 bass and they were little, and but it was okay. I was still alive. I wasn't completely dead. I was still breathing.
Made good decisions. Just made good decisions. Completely happy with your rotation. Everything happened. It was just when it went thunk. It was a 13-incher, not a 3-pounder, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, or a 18, 20-pound flathead. So
okay.
But no, so I was like, all right, that's fine. All I need to do is catch, the same thing tomorrow and one big one or 2 big ones. And I just, the next day, let me tell you, the next day was whoa downhill. It was, I couldn't cast. I looked like I'd never skipped a jig in my life. It was just bad. I'd pull up on a stretch. I'd go 2 or 3 docks, come around a corner, and there's somebody fishing right in front of me. It was just bad. It was more than just bad rotation. I couldn't fish. I looked like I'd never done it before. My decision making was terrible. Plus, it seemed like everywhere I went, I was not behind somebody, but right behind somebody. Because a small lake like that, when a lot of people are doing the same thing, you're going to be fishing behind people, and you just can't let that get in your head. But you don't want to literally be fishing 2 minutes behind somebody, especially on a specific target. And it was just a bad day. And the first day was a bad day, but it wasn't mentally. The second day was just bad.
So what did you learn from
caps.
that? So that went down. It went downhill. So obviously, you're a guy who learns from your mistakes and then doesn't repeat them, or else you would continue to have bad days, which are few and far between for you. So what do you learn from that? Do you get off the water? Like next time, will you realize like what's happening and try to restart your day? Like what's the process of learning from day 2? Because it sounds like that day 2, there's more to learn from day 2 than there was from day 1, even though the results were similar.
Really, honestly, normally, yeah, I have time to sit back and analyze it and figure out what I did wrong. But I left there and went straight to somewhere. Cherokee. And I started practicing immediately and left there, went to Seminole, Hartwell, Lewisville. I'm just now getting a chance that I can sit back and realize it, because once I get done with the tournament, then I try to analyze the problems. And then from there, the next tournament is the only thing on my mind. So with everything being back to back to back, I got done there and all I could focus on was Cherokee. Get done there, all I can focus on is Seminole.
Yeah.
But, I would really, mainly, I think I have analyzed it a little bit, and I probably did, that afternoon on the drive to Cherokee, and just trying to, I just had a weak mental moment. Honestly, that's what it all boils down to. If I get that "you suck, you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing" out of my head earlier in the day, I make better decisions and I fish better. I probably wouldn't have caught a big bag, but I probably would have caught more than 2 bass.
Okay, I got to go down this. I know Mark has instant feedback questions that we got to get to and everything, but that I suck, I'm not going to catch him. So unless you were sandbagging, your practice on Lewisville sucked. Like you ate some waves one day of practice. You weren't catching many bass. I followed you on social media, but you come in with a 4th place finish. I go out on Lewisville, catch 7 bass in 5 days, and I go into the tournament going, "You suck. You haven't caught more than 2 in 2 days. What's day 6 going to be any different?" You go out, finish 4th, win you're in position for everything. So what was the difference there? Were you able to take the this is a crappy practice, and turn it into a top 5 at Lewisville.
So to me, not catching bass in practice is not bad. You see, the way I practice, I see everything on the lake, and I have got to where I just go fishing. And that's what I did there. And if you look back at each day's, what I weighed in each day at Lewisville, you can tell that I wasn't dialed in. I caught 3 for 610 the first day.
Yeah,
5.
no one was dialed in there. No one was dialed in at Lewisville. There wasn't a single guy who got a 5 bass limit.
No. So the second day I caught 5 for 16 something, mate, 16 and a half, 17, I don't remember, and then 3 the last day. So the first day I caught 3 on docks, all on a jig. The second day I was thinking, you fish docks a lot. There's like 18 and a half docks on that lake, and I fished them all twice the first day. I said, you probably should do something different. And I said, that's probably it's going to be better later in the day once the sun gets up. And what are you going to do? So I'm running up the lake. I said, I turned and I went up in that Lake Dallas. And so I'm going to go crank some rock first thing. The wind's blowing a little bit. It just felt right. So immediately actually, let me back up and tell you about quick decisions and them working. So this is a perfect example. I pull up and I fish a little isolated rock pile. It was a little bit deeper, just off the bank, probably 8 or 10 foot deep. I shook one off there in practice. Nothing. I said, look over. I said, well, there's a dock I didn't fish yesterday. I said, pull over there, fish it. Nothing. I look over, and I'm in one of those marina areas, so it's idle zone. I look over, and there's one more dock back in there. I said, well, probably not going to catch one there, but I haven't fished it, so I might as well idle over there and fish it and get it out of my head, and then I'll fished every dock on the lake. So I'm idling to it with this quick decision to go fish that random dock. And as I'm going to it, I said, that's a good looking little rock bank right there leading up to it. So I turned and went on down, went to that rock bank, I stopped throwing a square bill up towards the exact same square bill that I won on at Kissimmee. Wow. Exact one. Not one like it, the exact one. That one's might get I'm not going to retire him. He's been too good, but
that Zoom?
No, it is a greenfish G squared, fat G squared. It's like the old Zoom bait.
Oh, can you hold it still for a while, or were you just trying to flash it? I didn't know if he was just trying to flash it, like tease us with it, or if he was okay. There you go. Oh my gosh!
You can see it.
Look at that.
It's been beat up. It's a good one though.
Wow.
But yeah, so I'm cranking that rock bank, and I catch a 4-pounder. I was like, heck yeah, we got one early, and it's a big one. And not only that, I said, good decision, Bryan. And I fished the dock, and guess what? I don't catch one. Says, all right, let's go crank some more rock. And I just run around, I'm just riding around looking. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. And I catch a 3-pounder. I was like, heck yeah, good decisions. Another good decisions. And to me, that is huge. Whenever you make a decision like that on the fly and it works, and then you make another one on the fly and it works back to back, you're going to bust them that day. I mean, I only caught like 7 bass that day, but I still busted them.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I run around and I try that for a while, and it just never had another bite. I was like, all right. So I pull up to this dock again, and this is actually one of the only what I call a real dock. Like most of the docks there were just a couple floats put together. You couldn't even get underneath them, and that was it. This was an actual real floating dock, walkway leading out to it. And I fished the whole floating dock, and it was pretty big, and nothing. And there's one great big concrete piling on the walkway. And I slide up there. There's really nothing else around. It's kind of a long way from the bank, and it's a long way from the floating part of the dock. So it was an isolated target, honestly. The wind was blowing on it, and I said, man, there's a fish there. So I threw my jig up there, 5 or 6 casts, and I didn't get a bite. And let me back up a little bit. It's super shallow. It's like a foot and a half. I put my power poles down to fish it, and they were sticking out of the water. It was that shallow. No reason a fish on an isolated target shouldn't bite a jig that shallow. I mean, most of the time. I'm not going to say no reason, but I just said, man, there's a fish sitting there. I knew there was a fish sitting there. The wind was blowing on it. I could see a little current seam coming around it. You know, not much one, but it was just wind current. And I sit my jig down. I pick up a chatterbait. I slide it over there in the first cast. I catch I don't remember what it was, but it was a good one. You know, it was a keeper. It was a good one. I said, okay, I knew it. You know, another good decision. And the next cast, I fired that old chatterbait out there. I'm winding her along. One knocks it sideways. I said, uh-oh, we figured something out. And the next cast, I catch another one. That gave me 4. Yep. Yeah. The next cast, I catch a short. Another cast or 2 later, another one knocks it sideways. Like 6 or 7 casts later, nothing. I said, I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. There's more fish there than that. It's so shallow, I just need to back up and, you know, let it rest and come back. And I'm going to catch a limit. I'm going to catch my 5th one. I really, truly, 100% believe that. So I leave, I run around, fish about 30, 45 minutes, come back. About the 6th or 7th cast, it loads up, and I flip a 5-pounder in the boat, and I've got whatever I weighed in, 16 pounds.
And that was all one good decision of you saying I know that I think there's something on that, whereas you easily could have just flipped that jig 6 or 7 times in there and said, damn, there should have been one on it and gone on, and you come in with 3 pounds or 3 fish and finish in 50th.
That's right. That's it.
That's baller right there. That's big league move.
But then I run around and I fished all day, and this is kind of another deal in itself, but I think it's important to tell. So, like I said, I caught 3 the first day on a jig on docks, and then that morning they would not touch a jig on that, which it was a little bit different. It was a current kind of deal. So they bit the chatterbait. Well, at that point, I was like, hey, maybe I need to be throwing a chatterbait on these docks. And I keep saying docks, so it sounds like that's all I was fishing, but I was fishing everything. I was fishing offshore rock. I was fishing bank rock, docks, just honestly whatever looked good at the moment, wherever I was. So I start throwing a chatterbait on these docks, and I pull up to one dock that I shook one off in practice on, and I skipped the chatterbait under there 3 or 4 times, nothing. So I picked the jig up, and I threw the jig under there. First cast, it swims off, and I catch a short fish. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. That's the complete opposite of what happened earlier. So I go back to the jig, and about 3 or 4 docks later, I pull up. I throw the jig 5 or 6 times. Probably 3 or 4. Nothing. I pick the chatterbait up. First cast, caught one. I mean, it was short fish, but it was still as shallow as it was. That fish seen my jig every single time. It would not touch it, but he bit the chatterbait. The other one, as shallow as it was, it seen my chatterbait every single time, but it bit the jig. And so at that point, you know, that's kind of, if you think you're dialed into something, don't only get dialed into that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, yes, but not always. Not always. I guess you got to be smart enough to say, hey, maybe I need to try something else at the same time.
The point of that whole story to me is the catalyst to that, which was your big bag, which was the majority of your weight on day 2, was of a gut decision where you were headed to do something else. You saw something. You didn't question yourself, because here's what 90% of people would do. 95. You wouldn't understand this because you're in the free category. 95 would say, oh, I don't want to go crank that rock because that'll kill time. And I went back there to flip that dock, and I'm going to flip that dock, and I don't want to get distracted. Whereas you went, boom, something didn't even cross your mind. You just went over there, boom, you caught a 4-pounder. It got the freaking ball rolling. So then now you're trusting your decisions. When you come to that piling, you say, boom, there's a fish on it. That whole day started with a split-second decision to not question yourself and do whatever popped into your head, and that's what led to the 16 pounds, which I think a lot of people can learn from that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've learned, you know, I've done well for, several years, off and on. And it seems like I used to get dialed into something and I would do good, and then I would suck. Then I'd do good. And then here the last 2 years, I've been a lot more consistent, and I'm just fishing more free, not getting so dialed into, hey, I've got to be doing this. Really just fishing whatever seems right, because, and I tell you, I think another reason that works so well is everybody that fishes now is extremely good. I mean, 98% of the guys, I'm talking everyday fishermen, club tournaments, elite series, everybody is really good. I truly believe that your average everyday don't even fish tournaments fisherman is as good as probably the top guys 20 years ago. And maybe not even that long ago. Plus fishing pressure is huge. I mean, not only during a tournament or practice, but I mean, especially this year, there was so many people not working all the time. There was so many more boats on the water that it's so hard to get dialed in and do one thing, because there's never one thing good enough to carry you. I say never. It is. I mean, it's not. There are times that, yes, there is something good enough to carry you, but most of the time you've got to do several different things to get through an event.
Right. Very nice. That was some really, really great stuff, Bryan. I have this question. You showed the crankbait. You talked about a chatterbait. When you reflect back on 2020, what were some of the most important baits and tactics for you when you combine the entire season? If you were to reflect back on 2020, what really sticks in your mind?
Well, every tournament this year was junk fishing at its best. And a quick example of that is the first day at Lay Lake, I caught 7 bass on 5 different baits. The first limit the first 5 I caught were on 5 different baits. But the ones that worked over and over multiple times through the year, number one, the greenfish fat G2 crankbait, made a lot of money with that, caught a lot of fish with it. Another one was a greenfish toad-toader buzzbait with a horny toad trailer. No secret there. But it's just a really good one. It's got the right hook, the right wire. Everything's right about it. Another one that I caught a 6-pounder on at wherever I won, Kissimmee. And
which win?
But this year's been so crazy. I don't know where I've been. But and then I weighed in a few fish on it at Lay Lake and heck, probably somewhere else. But a mega bass jerk bait. I caught some fish at wherever that Toyota was. I fished Seminole. How do I forget Seminole? Seminole and me Seminole's my boy. How do I forget about that? I need to be slapped. A Zoom old monster worm. It's old school, but it works. I don't know. I mean, everybody knows what a Zoom old monster worm looks like. Just Texas rig, like a 1/4 ounce weight, green pumpkin. Dude, anywhere in the country, you can never go wrong with green pumpkin. That's my favorite. A player everywhere. I don't care where you go in the country. You better have a jig tied on of some sort. And to me, this is my favorite jig. It's just a greenfish all-purpose jig. It's got a Sparky style head. It skips really good. Comes through brush really good. Comes through grass really good. Hand-tied skirt. Good hook. Good bait keeper if you want to thread your trailer on there. Sometimes I use a Z-Crawl as a trailer. But more often than not, I just go to the old school Zoom big salty chunk. Guess what? Green pumpkin.
That's like that's a 1998 setup, Bryan, with that chunk just skewered on there. You put the toothpick through the front of the chunk so it doesn't pull off too.
No, I don't. I do remember. So whenever I was a kid and $1.50 was a lot of money to me. Yes, I did that to try to make it last longer, but You probably use few less chunks that way, but the time it takes you and as cheap as they are, I don't really mess with that. But
you really have more confidence in that chunk than threading it on, like in most scenarios.
I do, and I'll tell you why. So, and I use a lot of different chunks. Like I said, I use a Zoom Z crawl a lot. Sometimes I use a baby Zoom Z crawl. Sometimes I use a speed crawl, and then
all threaded though.
Yes, on those.
Yeah. So when you don't thread, I mean, I'm asking this because I literally haven't threaded since or haven't used a chunk since probably 1998.
Oh, to me, well, a big salty chunk and other chunk style trailers. Some are a little different than others, but they're so flat.
Okay.
They're flat. So when that thing when it's falling, that flat makes it glide. So with, say, a Z-crawl, it's going to fall straight down. You're going to have more drag. It's going to fall slower because of that drag, because of those legs kicking. But I like that glide a lot of times. Instead of a straight slow fall, you've got a glide slow fall.
You. So
Matt, that looks like a pork chunk.
Oh yeah, we just had a big discussion about that. But let me ask this: so when you're fishing around suspended fish, dock poles, whether you're flipping wood or something, majority of the bites are on the fall, reaction bites. You're gonna go with that chunk as opposed to when you're hopping it and it's 3 or we're dragging it and they eat it. So that's more of a reaction bite jig on the fall with that chunk. Or will you hop that on the bottom too? Because I always just picture like that jig sitting on the bottom and that chunk just like flopped over on the side, and they're just like, that thing looks freaking sick. Whereas the other ones, it's like, oh, woo, look at me, I'm moving.
So if a fish is suspended, if I feel like they're suspended under a dock, I like the glide.
Okay.
If I feel like they're suspended on a dock pole, I like the straighter fall. I'll flip to the dock pole and I'll let it, I'll use a Z crawl or a speed crawl, something like that, to let it have that slower, more straight down fall.
Makes sense.
Yeah. My phone's about to die, so I'm gonna have to unplug these headphones. Maybe we'll still be good. Let me know what you think.
Sorry, we're like an hour into this.
Yeah, it's good stuff though, man. No, you're still there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. We got you. Now we're good.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yep, we got you. You got us.
You got me back now?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
I messed everything up.
No, you're good.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, he can't hear anything.
Oh, no, I messed it up.
No, you're good. Just hit the hit your volume up.
What do I do? My bad, guys. My bad.
It's all good.
Just click on the link again. He can't hear us.
They're my screwed up moments.
This is only a screwed up moment of 2020.
I can't hear anybody.
Literally the only thing he screwed up the entire year.
Give me the thumbs up if you want me to restart.
Yes. All right, he's going to restart.
I didn't mean to be like commandeering this interview, but this is some freaking good stuff.
Oh, it's great.
This is
great
like
stuff, man.
This is inside the mind, like reasoning stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever been in a tournament, I mean, he's breaking down success, like how you have success. Now, granted, the normal guy can make all those decisions, and he's like, oh, when 3 decisions work right together, you're going to crush him. And, you're sitting there going, well, hell, I've never had 3 decisions work right in a row. You know what I mean? Like to him, that doesn't compute because of the talent.
Yeah. All right, let's bring him back. All right, you're back.
I'm back. Is the audio all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. I can run a graph really good, but these phones and stuff like this, they get me sometimes.
Okay, that's a great segue, Mark, unless you had somewhere to go.
Well, no, I just want to make sure you got to talk a little louder, Brian, just a little bit louder because you don't have the mic connected.
Okay, so
okay. No, you're good.
There we go.
I got a few more key baits. You want to?
Okay, yeah, keep going. Sorry, I got you. I got all worked up over the meaty chunk.
So the lighting kind of terrible right there, huh? We're good. So
yeah, that's good.
This is another old school, the Zoom Baby Brush Hog. I'll tell you. Let me give you my rundown on this. So, really, there's only one tournament that I really keyed in on the Baby Brush Hog, and that was at the Arkansas River. But the reason it was so important was I weighed in 8 bass, I believe, 8 or 9, and if it was 8, I weighed in 6 fish on the Baby Brush Hog. Without one of those, I don't win Angler of the Year. I probably don't qualify. The reason I like the Baby Brush Hog is, well, one, honestly, I've always thought it was the dumbest looking thing. But they eat it, and that's what's important. It don't matter what, like, I like the old chunk, you know. But I really like the profile, the size. You can put a no matter what size hook you put in it, it's going to come through really well. You're not going to have to worry about hook not coming through plastic. When you're flipping grass, like not mats. I mean, I don't use it flipping mats, but honestly, it'd probably be really good because it's so slim and it would go through well. But I was flipping water willow, and so it was going through. I was able to use a little bit smaller weight, but there's a lot of current there, and this is where it gets technical to me. So you've got those two, ribbon style legs, and in that current, when you flip it in there and let it sit, it don't take much current for those legs to they don't really kick real well, but they will kind of kick just a little bit. And I was getting a lot of my bites, flipping it in there, hopping it up, and letting it go down and just kind of sit there for a second. And I can't swear that it made a difference, but it made me feel like it was. So that's what's important. And I called them on it. So there you go. But
very nice.
The other bait that was really key these last 2 tournaments was just a chatterbait. I mean, this is the jackhammer. I mean, I think everybody knows what that is, but a lot of people have their favorite trailer, and there's a lot of good trailers, but I use 99% of the time I use 2 trailers, and I use 2 trailers 3 different ways. Actually, 1 trailer 2 different ways. So my number 1 trailer is a Zoom Super Fluke. I cut it down like 1/8 of an inch on the nose just to give it, more up when better, and it shortens it up just a touch. When I use that trailer, there's a few reasons why I pick that trailer. One is if I'm wanting to fish it faster, and 2, if I'm wanting to fish it deeper. Because it has less drag, so you can fish it faster and still keep it down a little bit. 2, if you want to fish it deeper, I mean, it has less drag, so even if you're slow rolling it, you can get it even deeper. And the other trailer is a Zoom Z Crawl, the full size Z Crawl. I do trim it down just a little bit, and sometimes I'll put it sideways, like flatways. I don't like you would a chunk. I mean, I'm just going to use my jig, for example. And I do that to where the legs kick like this if I fish it shallow or lower. And I'll put it sideways where the legs kick like this if I'm wanting to fish deeper or faster. It's still slower and higher in the water column than the Fluke would be. But to me, it's all about speed and depth. That's the main things about the trailer with the chatterbait. To me, I'm not saying I'm right, but that's. I know other guys have different opinions, but that's what works for me, and I've caught a lot of bass on it, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Zero finesse this year. Like, you win the points, you fish spotted bass fisheries, you fish tough fisheries where bites are hard to come by, and I see nothing that could go on a spinning rod. I see nothing that is tiny for a spotted bass. I mean, it's all like, here it is, eat it.
Well, I did, and I probably should have, I need to find, I know exactly where it is. So, yes, I did weigh in 3 fish on the drop shot at Hartwell. That, were key. I mean, with that, every single fish that I weighed in this year was extremely important. I mean, I won by 1 point. And there was, a handful of days that I didn't have a limit. So every single fish was important. But another key bait, and it just slipped my mind, was, I'm going to grab it real quick.
All right. I mean, Mark, I was just thinking, as many of those tournaments that is tough, I would, and a Carolina guy, I would think more finesse would play into it. But I mean, he's naming stuff that's like straight out. I mean, like, you could fish on Grand Lake all year round with all the stuff he just mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like he's fishing Oklahoma style the whole year. Every single bait, Brad Hallman's probably watching somewhere going, yep, got that tight on. Yep, got that tight on. Yep, got that tight on.
So this, I mean, some guys may not call it finesse, but it is to me. It's a micro football jig from Fitzgerald Fishing, and I know it's in the pack. So, but like, there's my,
they misspelled your last name on the package.
I know, right? I look like some weird dude.
Yeah, you look.
Don't very often. Beside it,
oh yeah,
real well. So it's a lot smaller. It's a tungsten head. It's a small profile, light wire hook, going on 12-pound line, and spotted bass, smallmouth. I mean, even largemouth, but anywhere around spots and largemouth, or see, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm having another one of them moments. It's incredible. But I weighed in the All-American, I weighed in a couple fish on it. At Cherokee, I weighed in most of my fish on it, all like 8 of them. And I know I've caught it at Lay Lake, but I may have. Oh no, I caught a 3-pounder the first day at Lay Lake on it. So yeah, and I know I caught a small one the second day, but I think I wound up pulling it. But still very important to my year.
Yeah. So you don't even have to go into all this stuff. I'm just curious, how many social media questions do you field about your Frankenstein contraption on the front coming off of your trolling motor? Like, I know personally, me, I have gotten no fewer than 8 private messages about your electronic setup. And I'm like, I don't know. I've interviewed the guy twice. He kind of half posted a picture of one in one of his social media. Guys are like, this picture, they're like blowing it up. Like, they've got stuff circled on it and everything. And I'm like, dude, you got to ask him. But I mean, you have to have hundreds of people trying to figure out all your transducer configurations and setups, right?
Yeah, so I get a few questions a day, it seems like, at least. All come about. There's everybody's doing it now, but I was, one of the first guys to run 360 and off at the same time. And when I got to the Arkansas River, actually before that, I was already having ideas. But when I got to the Arkansas River, I seen real quick that I had to do something. And the reason why was your 360 transducer and your trolling motor lower unit are so close together, there was just a fine little bitty line where you could mount your Panoptix transducer. I know that you can mount it on the side of the lower unit, but I didn't want to do that for multiple reasons. One, it's a $1,500 lower unit or transducer. I was going to break it up. And 2, I kind of felt like that it was going to get, it wasn't going to read well. And I can't say that it does read well there because I've seen it. That was just my theory. I know a lot of guys that have used it and been very, very successful with it, or mounting it on the lower unit of the trolling motor. So I'm sure it works just fine. But so that being said, I couldn't raise my trolling motor up in shallow water, meaning shorten the shaft up.
Yeah, not important at the Arkansas River at all, is it? You just keep that full length shaft down there.
I completely took the transducer off and I just rolled it up and zip tied, or didn't zip tie it, but bungee cord it behind my graph because I wasn't using it there anyway. So there's reason number one. Number two, I was having to mount it so low on the trolling motor shaft that I was getting a little bit of blockage from the trolling motor foot, the lower unit of the trolling motor. So I wasn't getting the full potential. I wasn't getting a full view, which is, very important. You got the equipment, you might as well make it work to its full potential. And the other main reason was I wanted it to be stationary. Let's just say I'm fishing a rock pile. Or, well, here's a perfect example. Cane pile at Lake Hartwell. There's no secret to them whatsoever. Everybody in the world knows about them. And there's no secret trying to find them. You find 3 of them and you know exactly where to look on every single point on the lake. You can look. That's where it's going to be. And guess what? That's where it is. Yes, there are some sneaky ones. But anyways, I'm getting off track. So if I pull up, I line up, and that cane pile is dead straight in front of me, I want it always dead straight in front of me. For me to do that, if here's the cane pile, and it's like this, I may wind up over here like this, but it's still dead straight in front of me. But to keep it dead straight in front of me, I'm always got to turn my trolling motor. Even though it's in front of me, I'm still rotating around it. And doing that, if that's where your transducer's mounted, you lose it. You're constantly losing it. I do like the fact that you can pan quicker with it on your trolling motor, but the way that I fish, I felt it would be more efficient for it to always be pointing where I want it to. That being said, I do have, and I designed this whole thing myself. I think there's some other ones on the market. I'm sure they're great, but I wanted to build it to do exactly what I wanted it to do. And some machine shop and guys that are really good with that kind of stuff, and they helped me put it all together. But I said, hey, this is what we got to do, and we did it. But I've got off again. I've got a tensioner knob, a set screw to where I can make it stay straight, or I can put a rod on the end of it, go old school tiller handle trolling motor, and I can turn it to look left, right, whichever way I want to. And I've actually got another idea that we haven't done. I haven't been in town in time to do so, but we're fixing to make it even a little bit better. And I might even start selling a few. As many questions and guys that want it, I may start doing that.
So you do have a way that if you want it, I mean, obviously to be off to the side, but it'll go whichever way your trolling motor turns, or that's
no.
There is okay. So it's either straight in front or you're using it like the crappie guys do.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
So basically, honestly, I designed it to do that, but I haven't used it. This new idea that I've got is going to make it more efficient,
right? As
far as turning it sideways. But right now, if I'm panning, I'm just turning the bow of my boat left to right. It may not be as efficient as the trolling motor, but what I'm doing with it is definitely the deal. No
Mark,
doubt,
it's
100%.
Super interesting. You talk about this and you see all this stuff on the front of his boat, but yet the first 30, 40 minutes of the interview, Does he want to talk about how his electronics helped him win? No. What was it? It was decision making.
Yeah.
It was time on the water. It was trusting yourself and your instincts. It had nothing to do with the electronics of it. In fact, a lot of the stories that you're telling, Bryan, you weren't even using your electronics when you talked about the key moments of the tournaments and the key. I just find it interesting. You see these guys with the stuff. Jacob Wheeler gets it. You get it. Thrifty gets it. Whoa, I had the $22,000 worth of stuff in my own rigging and all that stuff. I'd make the Elite Series too. No, it's what's in your head. It's the time on the water. It's the decision making, coupled with the hundreds of hours that you've spent to get a system that you can understand and trust. That all comes together that makes you the angler that you are. It's not staring at the screen.
Well, you say that. I mean, it's everything. I mean, yes, it's a lot. It's probably decision making more than others or than anything else. But I mean, the electronics have, without electronics, I don't win. I don't find those fish at Kissimmee.
Right.
Cherokee electronics, Hartwell electronics. I mean, honestly, everywhere, yes, they really did play a big time, but it's more practice.
All right, man. Great stuff, Bryan. We're going to wrap things up. One last question. Sponsor lineup for 2021. Matt and I discussed, with these guys qualifying and yourself qualifying very late in December to have everything in place for 2021. Are you pretty much set as far as your sponsor lineup, or is there still work to do for 2021?
A lot of work to do. So I know the smart thing to do would have been going to these companies and going after them and saying, hey, I'm trying to qualify for the elites. I'm right here right now. If I qualify, can we do this? Or I kept working, because it takes a lot of time to do that. I mean, I've got a family. I bust my tail on my fishing. So either I'm at work, I'm spending time with my family doing stuff around the house, or I'm working on fishing stuff. So there wasn't any extra time there. I would have had to basically quit my job, which I wouldn't have to quit my job. I could go in whenever, but I don't like to abuse that. I would either have to stay out of work and not get a paycheck and try to chase a unicorn, or go to work and make sure that I'm going to make a living. So now I'm going to chase unicorns this week.
You didn't have to chase it. You caught it. You're riding it. You saddled the unicorn, Bryan. You're not only chasing it, you have caught it, you have tamed it, and you are riding it around.
Oh, I sure hope so. But no, I've things in the works, nothing, set in stone. But let me tell you, no matter what, 2021, Bryan New will be fishing the Elite Series. We have to have a boat wrap. I hope it don't come down to this, but there's a chance. You remember that movie, Talladega Nights?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Ricky Bobby lost all of his sponsors, and then he come back, and he had a picture of a cougar on his car, and it said me.
Yeah.
Well, there's a chance you'll see that next year. I hope you don't, but you might. Because those entry fees are getting paid, whether it's from my pocket or someone else's.
I feel like a unicorn would be a good second choice there. I'm just saying. After you said that line, I mean, you and Thrift have a unicorn farm going over there.
Oh shoot, man! But I just want to make a living, having fun, and doing what I doing what I love.
You've got to have everyone under the sun wanting to work with you, dude.
I hope so. I'm gonna when we get off of here, I'm gonna get to work and get to making some phone calls, and hopefully we can get something going, man.
Wow. Well, we wish you nothing but the best, dude. You're a stick. Can't wait to see you on the Elite Series next year. And what a fantastic year 2020 has been, with a lot of adversity. But, man, very excited to see you in 2021.
I'm ready to be seen. Hopefully I am seen. I'm not
Now, I've got a feeling that we're going to see the unicorn quite a bit next year on the Elite Series.
I like it. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. And hopefully about February we can do it again.
That would be cool, man. You're welcome anytime on the show, Bryan.
All right, man. Well, y'all have a good one, and I guess I got to get to work now.
Yeah. All right. Be safe, man. Happy holidays.
All right. Happy holidays to y'all and everyone watching.
All right. Take care, man.
Have a good one. See ya.
All right. See ya. All right. There you have it, Matthew. Wow. What a great bit of information from Bryan New there. Just fantastic stuff.
I mean, I fished half of the tournaments that he fished in because, I fished the Cetrals as well.
Yeah.
It's not easy to just go, let's go make the Elite Series, and then he wins the points overall. These are the first Opens that he's fished. I mean, granted, he's fished a lot of other stuff. He's really only been out of the front of the boat for the last 5 or 6 years. And then to double qualify through the Easterns and through the overalls and win the overall points championship, like having just kind of seen a little bit of what he did and the fishery, it's just freaking impressive, man.
It really is.
He's got it. And a lot of the guys who qualified this year have it. Like, there's no surprises, in my opinion. Like, Matt Robertson has it, obviously, Hackney Christie, all those guys, and Gleason. Yeah. I mean, it's super cool to get to just pick the guy's brain, because a lot of those are some questions that I've had throughout the year. And then to be in a position with BTL to actually ask him, like, I wasn't going to, like, call the guy up and just chat with him. Like, that would be a little odd. So I'm take advantage of the platform that BTL has. But literally, like, that conversation we just had, Mark, like, if I was to just call him up and talk to him, that's exactly the stuff I would be asking.
Yeah, that's really, really good stuff. Somewhat surprised, but I get what he said about the proactiveness as far as sponsorship for 2021. I get it. Yeah. And now he's got very few weeks to go to work. And the really bad position it puts a lot of guys in is the fact that a lot of companies, their budgets are done. Yeah, they have everything done for 2021. But I did and have spoken to a number of people involved in the industry that have set aside X amount of dollars
for these open guys.
Right.
Hey, so the guy did over 8. I mean, you remember also fished the All-American this year, a couple of the Costa events or Toyota Series events, but the guy did roughly 80, 90, 100,000. He did over $80,000 in the 8 Opens, and you're talking about a $16,000 entry fee on that. So he actually made money fishing, for lack of a better term, the minor league circuits. So, I mean, he's in a decent position. Then throw into that the Ray Scott win that he's had and the other wins. I mean, he's in the rare air where he could, sit there and talk to Steve Kennedy about what it's like to make a living catching fish.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's going to be exciting to watch in 2021. So can't wait for that. All right.
Rookie of the year. Is he going to be rookie of the year?
He's going to be in the race. Definitely at the top of the race. I think you got a couple other guys in there too.
Who else are you going to put it? I think Robertson.
Matt. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. They won't count Scott Martin as a rookie, will they?
Hell no. Scott Martin, he'd be in the Angler of the Year race.
Yeah. Good stuff, though, man. Thank you, Bryan, for taking time to do that interview. All right, real quick. Hey, this just crossed my mind. Didn't you have one more derby left where it had something to do because you mentioned Ray Scott's name, that Ray Scott championship or whatever? Weren't you fishing some weekend deal where you qualified for the Ray Scott championship or something?
Yeah, well, the next Ray Scott is in April on Chickamauga. And you either had to finish in the top 10 of the points or the top 5 overall in your ABA.
Were you not
Open
close?
Division.
I thought you were close.
Yeah, that was where I got second on the Arkansas River. Remember, I found the magic shell bed offshore with the drop shot, and I finished second overall.
Yeah, so is that done? Did you make it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to be at the championship?
I double qualified for the Ray Scott. Yeah, I finished 10th overall on the points and second in that tournament. That was back. There's like a whole video of it out there. It's called the ABA Region whatever Championship on the Arkansas River out there on BTL.
So where's the championship?
September. Chickamauga in April.
Okay.
The problem is if there's opens on top of it, I already got my invitation and everything. If there's opens on top of it, well, we might be in a pickle then. Especially if they say, hey, let's do an overall championship for the Opens where points matter, then I don't know if I'll be able to make the Ray Scott.
Yeah. All right. I couldn't remember that. All right. Speaking of videos,
but you can throw an A-rig too. So.
Oh, interesting. All right. Speaking of videos, a lot of people want to know when you're going to have your Lewisville video out there.
Next week, I'm working on a hybrid, a number of things to kind of close the year out. It's not that exciting, folks. The most exciting thing is the run to get into the area where I don't catch them. I'm just saying. I mean, you've got a lot of catfish and a lot of disappointed looks and a lot of me just looking up and yelling, why? Why is this happening?
Dude, that's part of it, though. That's part of the process.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll work on it. I got 2 or 3 for the end of the year, and then I've got some really cool ideas for next year. Switching things up big time. Still covering the tournaments in a completely different way. You know, since I've known you, Mark, since 2007, as soon as you start doing one thing, you're always saying, hey, what's the next thing going to be? So I have started to think about that halfway through the year as to how I want to cover 2021. And we'll see where it goes from there.
All right, very cool. In case you missed the beginning of the show, great week this week. We're going to have Randy Blockett on tomorrow. Are you going to be live from the water?
Yes, I'll be on the water tomorrow.
Okay, so we're going to have Randy. I am going to call Randy to see if he wants to go to Table Rock. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull that off. I don't know what his schedule is, but for sure we're going to have Randy on.
Oh, you have?
I just sent him a text.
And he said, yeah, he's probably out doing an instructional. He's guides. He's probably doing an instructional deal.
I don't know. What's the weather supposed to be like tomorrow? Because I know you checked on it.
Gorgeous all week, except maybe a little rain on Friday.
Really?
Dude, Bryan brought the juice, man.
It's really good stuff, man.
Baits there. He went into everything.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff. You're not going to get that detailed of stuff for over an hour that we spent with him that was really diving into details about his success this year. So greatly appreciate Bryan on that. All right, so block it on Tuesday and then a special show on Wednesday, folks. Remember, 5 p.m. Central Time with special guest Frank Scalish. He's going to come in and host the show with me, and then we're going to have the executive senior VP for Fox Sports.
Are you doing any other announcements for that show?
No.
Okay, never mind.
No, we're building up. I will say this: make sure you check out Matt's social media this week. Make sure you check out the BTL social media, of which I have nothing to do with that. That's all Matt, because we are building up to something that we will probably announce either next week. Yeah, we'll announce it next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because then we're going to have the week before Christmas, and then we're off Christmas week. So, yeah, we'll probably announce it next week. We'll have some build-up this week with some little videos that show up on social media.
Oh, yeah, you did talk about how you were pumped up about that. You wearing shorts and short sleeves?
Yeah.
Wow.
65 today. Well, it's, 69 degrees in the gym. So I just put sweats on and go to class in sweats.
Have you made them run yet? Have you gotten?
Oh, dude, they've been running forever. But we lost football game. We lost the football game on
Friday.
Oh,
you did lose the football game.
Semifinals. So we're finally going to get.
Bummer.
Yeah, we're going to get a number of football players in the gym. But we have our first tournament this week. But the football players won't play. They'll probably have this week off. It takes a while to go from football shape into basketball shape.
Endurance.
Yeah.
Have you had to get on the line yet this year? Where you run them because you're angry? Or do you know, is that not
times.
your...
No,
that is your coaching style. Okay.
Yeah. Numerous times. We have this thing called volleys. VOLLYS. Volleys. And what you do is you have to run to the volleyball lines and back to the baseline.
So that's like climbing the mountain in hockey. You go blue line, black, red line back, far blue line back.
Yeah.
What is the equivalent of a mountain or a volley in fishing? Like if you're on a tee, like is there something that we all do that's like technically good for you in tournament fishing, but that no one likes to do? Would that be graphing? I mean, I know some guys.
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Some guys that's their jam. Gleason.
Here, let me ask you this real quick. Have you ever heard of a 24-hour tournament?
I mean, yeah.
No, a big time,
not bass tournament.
No, that's what I'm saying. Big time, let's say $1,000 entry fee.
Where you have 20 weigh-ins?
No. It's your best 5. Dude,
no, you can't. No.
You
you can't put a smallmouth in the live well at 6 a.m. in the morning and then make them stay in there till 6 a.m. the next morning. You got to have it spread out to where you have multiple weigh-ins.
You're right. But every 8 hours?
Yeah.
Would that be it? Or 4 weigh-ins every 6
I've heard
hours,
of
maybe?
Obviously the saltwater stuff, but I've never heard of a 24-hour bass tournament. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure they're called like Ironmans or something.
Would you fish one? Would you fish one?
Yeah, you could 100% do that up north, especially in Canada where it gets light at like 5 and stays light till like 11. It would have to be a team tournament. It'd have to be a team tournament because then you run into safety issues as far as being sleepy and stuff.
I like that idea. I want to see it. It's like the 24 hours of Daytona.
Yeah.
They're saying Uncut Angling did one, 39 hours.
Oh.
Holy crap.
Was that a live stream or a tournament, though?
I'm talking an actual tournament. You start at 6 p.m. and then you weigh in at 6 p.m. the following day.
You know what? I feel like this would be perfect for like a BPT all-star event because they do a lot of the unique formats, right? And you have trailering. Why not do a 24-hour all-star event?
Yeah. It'd be a team event. It definitely would be different.
Now here's the caveat to that. I think you have it in an area that has 3 lakes and all 3 lakes are in play and you can trailer to whatever lake you want over the course of the 24 hours.
Yeah.
And you still, it's every fish over 2 pounds counts, but you have to decide which lake, when you're going to fish it. You have the daylight, the dark, and you could trailer to any of them.
That would be cool to see. I really would like to see that.
And you have a 3-man team to where you have one guy that can stop and rest right there.
Yeah.
So you always have 2 guys fishing.
Yeah.
And the teams are picked by the top 3 guys in the Angler of the Year midway through the season.
The 24 hours of Table Rock.
Or, I think if you have the multiple fisheries around, it really adds it. If you have a largemouth, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, tournament directors out there.
That would be perfect for a BPT All-Star event.
Yeah. There you have it. If you're listening, take that one and run with it. Another idea from us here at BTL.
Get a flashlight or a lighting sponsor involved. You get your tow vehicles involved, because they're towed to it.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We'll see if anybody jumps on that one. I'd love to see it. You could live stream the whole thing. You ever thought about doing a podcast for 24 hours?
Yeah, there's guys that have done that. That's a thing that's
really
been done. Yeah, live stream for 24. I think did Tyler's Real Fishing do it? Tyler's Real Fishing did it.
Fishing for 24 hours? Live streaming it on the water?
100%.
Huh. Who was watching that at 3 a.m. in the morning?
A lot of people watch it.
What, people that can't sleep?
Well, believe it or not, the world doesn't stop at the night. There's people who work night shift.
At 3 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, well, it could be Australia. We got a ton of listeners overseas that are in the military. I mean, it's not Central Time everywhere, Mark.
Good point. Good point. All right, Matt and I will be back tomorrow, Tuesday, with Randy Blockett. Everybody be safe out there. That's it. We are out of here.